This is a Honda Helix, and people say it's the best scooter ever produced. And somehow, I still managed to buy the worst one. But let's start at the beginning, when I didn't know yet how terrible all of this would go. Today is actually a nice day. We might buy one of my dream bikes. At the moment, the Harley Davidson is still intact, so that is what I'm gonna go with, even though it's like 2 degrees and it just started raining. Honestly, going there by bike was one of the worst decisions I ever made. I'm freezing. It's crazy. I can barely talk, it is so cold. I guess at this point, my brain was partly frozen because during the test ride, I already noticed a few very big problems. But for some reason, I still bought the bike. So I went back at night to ride the Helix home and it was sketchy as fuck. It didn't really want to accelerate, so after every stop I had to pedal with my feet to get it up to speed. But in the end, I made it back. This was quite an adventure. I wasn't sure if it would make it all the way back. I probably have overpaid for this. I still think I overpaid for what I got. And the ride back home made that painfully obvious. I realized that I had ignored too many issues. The rear wheel was wobbling, the throttle got stuck, the brake pedal doesn't really work. So we have to fix all of these issues one by one. And all of that while I actually didn't want to have another project. I just wanted to have a cheap bike that I could ride while I'm building my off-road Sportster. But now this is turning into much more of a project than I anticipated. It looks like crap, it rides like crap. So to get the Helix running, we need to do a few things. Oil change, coolant change, brake fluid change. Then I would like to have a look at all of these switches because everything's basically stuck. I probably need to loop the throttle cable. But first, before we start everything, let's see if it still fires up. It has been standing for 6 months, so I'm not too confident, but let's see. It's a scooter, so you have to press the brake for it to start. And that was the battery. It starts perfectly. We're already missing bolts. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna go ahead, take all of the panels off. Now we can see what we're working with. I have the feeling that whatever I touch, I might break. Perfect. It's honestly a lot worse than I expected. I expected it to not be in great shape, but like this, it's so much work just to get it to a decent point. I found a few documents in the trunk of the Helix. I went through the receipts and the last dated thing was a state inspection in 2015. So I think it's fair to assume that anything underneath these panels hasn't seen sunlight or water in over 10 years. So before we start repairing anything, I guess it's time for deep clean. When I rode it back, the problem with the riding of the Helix was that when you accelerate, it was like, it didn't go. And then once it picked up some speed, it would go. I think one of the main issues is the airflow. There's like a plastic tube basically that goes from the airbox to the carb. The guy basically just put it in the trunk. So we're missing this. It's not on completely, but might be better than nothing. I want to see if it runs. I think we have the issue. So this one is a broken fuse, and that one is for fuel starter and the charging system. Okay. I always try to find the positives in these situations, and the only good thing that I can find about this is that I never had a bike that didn't run. So now I have the chance to actually go through the process and try to figure out what it needs to run. The bike needs 4 things to run. It needs gas, air, compression, and spark. So what we have to do now is to go through each of these things and try to figure out what's missing so we can get it to run. So let's start with the spark and just check if we have spark. That is one of the easiest things to check. Spark plug out. I do have a new spark plug, so I'm gonna check spark with that. Well, after pulling this spark plug out of the engine, we might already have found the reason why this bike isn't running. But let's see if it's actually an easy fix like this. New spark plug is installed. Let's see if it starts. I guess we have another issue. It's not only spark. The carb has something that is called a bi-starter, which is basically the choke, but it works a little bit differently. You don't activate it by pulling a lever. There is like an electric spiral in there that heats up some wax, and by that wax getting warm, it pushes out the needle and that changes the mixture, which helps the bike to start when it's cold. You can relatively easily check that by taking it out, leaving the ignition on, and then seeing whether it expands or not. So that's one thing that I'm gonna do now. And while I'm doing that, I think I'm also gonna rebuild the carb. When I had a closer look at all of the jets that I pulled out of the carb, I noticed that none of them actually aligned with the recommendations from the manual. Fortunately, the rebuild kit came with all of the right sizes, so I switched all of them back because I think this was only done to compensate for the missing air chamber that we found in the trunk. Let's see if it starts. Everything's back together basically. We have spark. Let's see if it runs on the old fuel. It might still be good, and then I'm just gonna ride it until the tank is empty and then refill it. All right, let's see. Once I got it running, I just couldn't wait. I had to take it for a quick spin, but this project was far from over. The bike ran, but it wasn't safe at all. So the first thing I tackled were the sticky brakes. Nice. Since the front brake worked a lot better than the rear, I definitely didn't expect to find this mess when I opened the reservoir. Yo, what? Junge, was? That's absolutely disgusting. After I got the brakes done, it was time to move on to the coolant, and I was shocked at what I found here. I don't understand how people can neglect their things so much. There's about a centimeter of just slug in this reservoir. Everything I do on the Helix gets me one step closer to it becoming a full-blown project. I just wanted to replace the rear tire. For that, you have to take off the muffler. The clamp broke that holds the muffler in place. Then you also have to take out all of this in order to get the rear wheel off. And taking this out showed me that the swingarm bearing is completely destroyed. This is not even a bearing anymore. It's like completely gone. Now I need to buy a new bearing, take this one out, put the new bearing in before I can actually put the wheel back in. And all I wanted to do is ride it for a little while so I could get the oil up to temperature to do an oil change. Well. At some point I invested in a proper bearing puller set, and I'm so happy that I have it, because having the right tool makes this job so much easier. Old bearing out, new bearing in, and then we can get back to the oil and tire change. Now, before I allow any of these crusty plastic parts to go back on the bike, I wanted to do my best to give them a clean and new look. So I gave everything another good wash, and then I bought this Cerakote trim coat to freshen up the faded black. I wasn't sure if it could rescue the 40-year-old plastics, but I was blown away by the results. To apply this, the parts have to be properly washed, then properly dried, and then it's pretty simple. It's just a wipe, and you wipe on this solution, let it dry for 24 hours, and it brings back all of the color that was faded away over the past decades.